Had I known that you were in Mexico, literally, I would not be freezing my ass off here in Atlanta. I know you offered. You definitely offered. I'm just too busy. There's just no way I was going to break away. But listen, maybe my big goal for 2027 is mobile podcasting. And I come to you, baby, because you're down in Mexico.
We could do it on location.
So for those of us who are literally on the East Coast and up the East, even up into the, the northern reaches, we're freezing our Patucases off right now. And we've got some cold, we're talking single digits, below zero kind of stuff. Meanwhile, you're what in Mexico? What are you?
Oh, I feel like it's cold if it's below 70.
I'm okay, but what is it like now? Like now?
It's about 65.
Jeez. This is going to be the shortest podcast we've ever had because I'm already annoyed. I'm done with Eric Semi.
If it makes you feel any better, I lived for 43 years in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay. Definitely.
So
I don't know if you're banging. Hey, I don't know if you're banging your mic. I don't know if you're banging your mic. I hear a little. Just watch that. I don't.
Okay.
We don't want to hear that. But we do want to hear your sob stories. Because that's a cold place. So let me tell you, you're the kind of guy. Fireball is the kind of consultancy, or are you considered an integrator, or are you just more on the consultancy side? Yeah, the integrator. So this is what I would need. I would 100% need to work with a guy like you if I was taking my warehouse, taking my facility from wherever I'm at into more automation, because I am a act, learn, adjust kind of guy. And that means I'm the first guy to charge out of the gate to do something. I have to take activity. I have to be in motion. I'm a perfect person for sales. I'm a perfect person for leading big groups of people that need to get things done. I'm not the absolute best person when there's a big engineered solution that needs to be decided, because you need to plan.
Yeah.
And you have to think through a little further. And I need people on my team that say, Tony, let's slow that thing down a little bit before we go and adding, a $10 million robotic solution in here. And this is really why you're here today with Fireball, because as I have talked to so many different, robotics companies, they all have their own solution. The problem is, how do you get started? What's the philosophy? What is the absolute, best way? What are some of the best practices, if you will, to take your warehouse or your facility from wherever you're at and advance it? Like, what's the technique? How do you get people moving?
Well, a lot of people like to advocate starting off with this massive plan that they build. It takes them years, and it takes months to years to build. And by the time you're done, most of the technology is the plan has changed. Basically, technology has moved on. The plan has changed. We don't usually advocate that topology. We like to pick something high value that gets you immediate return on your investment. Pick that, improve that, bring your industry 4.0 online, bring your industry 5.0 online, and then iterate once you see value. And we do that by deploying our EmberNet system.
Okay, what is that?
EmberNet is a platform that our company has designed. We took a bunch of different open source technologies, and we customized them, brought them together, and optimized them for the factory floor. It combines a real-time Linux operating system plus central command and control via a website, combined with cloud payloads that you can run.
So for a non-techie like myself, let me try to parrot that back. Are you saying this EmberNet system is where you're connecting all of your kind of dumb devices, which make them smart, kind of connect into this hub that gives you the central control for metrics and data?
Exactly. What it does is it actually lets you centrally control and deploy all of the applications that you would want to run, whether that's a Windows VM running something old like Factory Talk View SE, or something modern like Ignition, or even custom software can all be deployed.
That's really smart because one of the problems, or probably one of the ideas that businesses have, is I want to use what I currently have. It's still feasible, still works. It's just like,
Hmm.
as you say, it's just not capable of being automated. Or in their mind, maybe they think it can't be automated. What you're saying is this system, this idea that you have, that you've created, kind of
Hmm.
connects and allows something that was maybe offline to become online.
Yeah, exactly. And it allows the average controls engineer to leverage world class cloud infrastructure and technology with a few clicks.
You said something at the top that as a business person really makes sense to me, and that is finding a value add, finding a win right off the
Oh, yeah.
bat. You know,
Yes.
try to identify like in other words, yeah, there's a million things that maybe you could automate, but what's going to really make us the most money? What's really maybe, preventing us? Like maybe there's a bottleneck in some place. Um, how challenging is it though to slice something out, take a piece out of an operation? Because I would think that somehow it's there's all the collateral, not damage, but all the supporting aspects of the business. How do you pull one piece out and automate it and have it not disrupt?
Um, I actually find that usually my customers have a really good idea of one area, one portion where they just have a lot of trouble. They don't have any information about what's going on out there. They lack visibility, they have problems, they're not making numbers. They usually know exactly where that is. So it's usually not too hard to define where the problem is, or where a good place to start is, because that would be your optimum place. And then you just take that, you put it online, you deploy your Industry 4.0 solutions, you get your data together. You can even deploy Industry 5.0 solutions with Embernet, which is actual PLC, virtual PLC control. Um, can even replace a PLC. Um, you bring all that information together. And then you have that data to then inform your actions.
I can't believe we're already talking about, you know, 5.0. We're not even into, we haven't even finished 4.0.
That's right. That's right. Most people are still working on
We're in
getting their
O,
4.0.
O.O. We're in
Yep.
O.O, and now we're 4. Now we're talking about 5. So 5 is totally replacing PLC.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Our testing on our systems and our deployments are seeing less than 100 microseconds of jitter with multiple virtual PLCs deployed per node.
So for those people who maybe aren't as familiar with PLC, explain, the role PLC is within controls
Sure.
and
PLC stands for Programmable Logic Controller. And what it was is it was an early, it originally started as a replacement for relay logic back in the 80s. It was the first computerized control used in industry, and it's evolved from there to be quite a bit more at this point. But what it does is it takes the inputs and outputs, the different signals you might see in a system, and then provides the intelligence and the logic to act.
yeah, and that's really that enables that automation, right? Because you can kind of
Yes.
you can tie into that and begin, to not have to have, someone there to manually, operate. So if the customer has a pretty good idea of where to start, then you come in. So an integrator then is what's your primary focus then as an integrator? Are you just looking at, okay, let me just figure out the best, kind of off the shelf or customized solutions? Or do you come in with
So
a suite of products that you maybe are, I don't want to say repping, that's maybe not the right way to put it.
no, 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 no. Yeah. So what our strategy is we have I call it a library or a tool belt of applications, solutions, things that we have used other places that we know work. We bring that in, we wrap it up in a cohesive application, and then we help the customer deploy something that's meant for them. One thing I do like to promote is that we do semi-custom or custom deployments on everything we deploy, um, because I always have felt that my software and business system should match my manufacturing process, not the other way around, which is usually what happens to people.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've heard of just the nightmare, of, incompatibility, the amount of money, the headaches that you end up spending. I don't know, how long you've been in the industry, but I can tell you, going back into Atlanta's heyday when we were going through growth, we had a lot of manufacturers here. Everyone was implementing SAP, and I always heard all the problems, all the challenges, people trying to buy off the shelf and then customize, and it was just on and on
Mhm.
and on. And now you get into that with the MESs as well. So sounds like you've kind of solved that.
Yeah, I mean, from an overall perspective, absolutely. We've moved on beyond that. Everything is deployed. The code is open. If you one day decide you want somebody else to work with you and work on your code, it's just code at that point. So anybody can work on it. When we deliver turnkey solutions for our clients, we give them all the source code with it, basically.
So give us some examples. I'd love to hear a little bit about some kind of practical stories of take, whatever this kind of strategy that you've been implementing, because I think
Mhm.
it's a brilliant. It makes a lot of sense. I would love to hear some examples though.
Sure, sure. So right now we have one customer who's a Fortune 500 manufacturer. They do um, automated testing of their equipment. So they have this like standardized testing cell that they use to test equipment as it rolls off the line. Currently, we're helping them transition from this code base that they wrote in C sharp and deployed manually to every place, where we are changing them to a modern infrastructure where everything is containerized, easy to deploy. They are switching to Ignition for their visualization, and we're using Code Assist for the back end. And this is all running on a single PLC, containerized with a real time operating system, ultra low latency. It gives you better performance than a standalone PLC, to be honest.
You mentioned the vision. Are you referring to this was like a quality kind of a QC kind of
Yeah,
like
this one
computer
isn't
vision?
isn't a vision inspection application. We do a lot of those, but this
Okay,
one
I
isn't.
heard vision, so that's kind of
Oh,
where I went.
Ignition. I think maybe I was saying Ignition perspective.
Mm.
It's a common
See,
industrial
another reason
software.
why I should
Yeah.
be there on site. We wouldn't have any latency here at all, even between us.
And you'd get to enjoy this wonderful weather we have
The
down here.
65-degree weather versus I think I've got 13 degrees coming up here tonight. It's gonna be
That's awfully cold for Atlanta, I'll tell you what.
that's a lot. It is. Well, we got that whatever polar vortex coming down through here, whatever. So that is a very practical example. I'm curious. One of the big challenges that entrepreneurs have, particularly integrators, you can get really focused on solving all your customer challenges and problems. I have a lot of sales guys that listen in as well, a lot of sales and marketing. I'm curious, what has been the most effective way for you to go out and talk to new customers? This is a kind of a nuanced space that you're in. It's a very competitive space.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like what is working for you at this point?
In terms of outreach,
Yeah,
generally,
yeah, exactly,
um,
exactly.
I mean, honestly, we're still pretty old fashioned in our marketing. I mean, industry is this weird universe, right? Where we embrace both the latest technologies and AI and things like that, but we still do a lot of things the old-fashioned way. As far as our sales outreach, usually it's relationships, people we know, people who we've done work for, who refer us to other people. It's like, hey, I know a guy who can solve this, or I got this guy. Maybe you should talk to him. And honestly, most of our customers we build ongoing relationships with and continue to support them. We don't do a lot of one-off work, to be honest. Even if it
I
was a one-off project, it usually they'll call us back in 6 months. Hey, I got another thing. Hey, I got another thing.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think that's because you have that great approach of you're not trying to solve, you're not trying to eat the entire elephant. You know, going into it, hey, we're going to nibble, and eventually we're going to tackle, the majority of what you do. But even with us, you can get as sophisticated as you want with your sales outreach, but it ends up end of the day, I think like 95% of all of our customers are referral.
yeah,
Yes, that's just kind of how it happened. But I was just kind of curious because what you do is very pretty specific, pretty technical, and sometimes that's a very difficult thing to sell, to kind of market. How like where would you even focus? Right, there's so many areas that you could tackle.
yeah. It is something I've put a lot of thought into with our messaging and how we and what we put out there in our marketing. Because we're so flexible, uh, we can do almost anything. But when you go to sell anything, you're not really selling anything at
Yeah,
all. You're
yeah, it's
selling
like
nothing.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just too. It goes over everybody's head. Yeah, it's interesting you said that because I've so in the marketing group that I support, we have so many different areas that we kind of focus in that I find it's best to just go as granular as you can and just create a lot of content around every little granular thing you do, and you put that out there on your socials. So you might do 10 different things. So maybe you end up doing, three or four or five little bits of content for each individual one from a different angle. You
Hmm.
can't just say we do, we we'll help you industrialize your warehouse. You got like this blank look on someone's face, huh?
I actually really, once I get on the phone with somebody, I like to get as many details about their specific pain points as possible, and then basically build them the framework of a solution right there while I'm talking to them.
Yeah, well, that's the advantage of working with an expert because you already kind of know. You've seen it. You kind of know, the direction that things are going.
Yeah.
Speaking of the direction that things are going, we talked about Industry 4.0 is already going to 5.0 right now.
Hmm.
What's your general take on robotics as it moves into manufacturing? We just heard the news. Elon is canceling two of the original Tesla lines
Right. I read
to
that
make.
this morning.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
just came out. Um, don't quote me. Like the Model S or X, I think it was, and to make room for Optimus. And they plan on reaching, a million humanoids per year. And I don't know that they're going to get that, I don't know how soon that is, but so what's your take? You work in this space.
Yeah.
How realistic is it for employers to start thinking now, businesses, manufacturers, do we have to get ready
It's
for robotics? Like, how are we going to do that?
I mean, we do. It is coming. It is a thing. But I mean, you're asking specifically about human form robots powered by artificial intelligence versus the industrial arms and
Well, that's true.
things
You
that
can
we've
go
been
any
deploying for
direction you
years.
want with that. You can go,
Yeah,
yeah, you can go either way because that obviously is already in place, right? So
yeah, yeah.
we've
That's
had
been
those.
that's been out there for years and years and years, longer than I've been in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the
Um,
old car manufacturer, they had the arms that come in, and so that's
yep.
been around. So yeah, I guess I'm more specifically, yes, more of a humanoid style, maybe adapted to a warehouse, yeah, or a production.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is coming. It is there. It's very much in its infancy. It's not something I would consider production ready from the ones I've seen. Um, if you have certain applications, I'm sure it could be implemented. Um, there are serious issues when you look at safety and compliance, though, with these sorts of robots that will need to be sorted out for the industrial environment.
How so?
There's a whole list of safety requirements, RA safety requirements for robotic applications. It covers cobots and things like that. Um, it's taken cobots 20 years to figure out where their niche is and how to be correctly and safely deployed. Um, it'll I'm sure it will take some time for the human form robots to really make their impact felt in the industry.
Yeah, that's good to hear because I think there's a lot of concern because you can go anywhere on X and listen to the pundits and they talk about this wave of people being laid off with AI and robotics. So it is, yeah, it is
Yeah,
coming. But
I've heard that.
I like to think of it as more just it's an intern. Like I'm getting an intern. I'm getting extra support rather than replacement.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not going to replace the interesting jobs that humans do. Um, the jobs that would be at risk, if any, would be the guy who loads and unloads a part from a machine all day long. Um, Usually not the jobs people really would like find interesting. I would guess the most simple and basic repetitive tasks. Um, you also got to ask yourself when it comes to industry: is the human form really the best way to optimize your production? Because a lot of things were built to use humans because we're extremely versatile and intelligent and can deal with a lot of variability in the process. But that was because we built the machine to fit a human,
Right.
not because we had a better solution. So you can take that same AI technologies that are powering these human form robots, and you can apply them to your already existing industrial arms that you're already familiar with, that format as well, um, and get massive gains out of that. I think that's actually where you're going to see the most growth is with more traditional form factors by applying AI and intelligence to drive them so that they're more adaptive, more responsive, respond to errors and unexpected conditions dynamically. Um, so I think that's what you're going to see first, to be
Yeah,
honest, rather than a flood
kind
of
of
human
improve
form.
upon what you already have.
Yeah.
So I would say it's a pretty exciting time to be in the industry. I feel like we're at the kind of the front end of the hockey stick of all the things that we're going to see changing. I used to
Yeah.
say, and I was a big believer in this. I was fortunate enough to have a grandfather, one that I was able to spend some time with, and he was born back in 1902. And I got to, kind of as I got older, I could talk to him more about all the things he saw. And you talk about living through, world wars, depression, the advent of, telephone, TV, and then rockets, and then internet. You thought, man, that is an incredible like lifespan of change. But now you hear people talking like what we're about to go through, like us, is going to be even more dramatic than that. And I'm having a hard time taking myself there and thinking, what could that be? And that's why I love talking to guys like you who are working on the front lines of automation, because this is, I think, where the learning happens for the
Mhm.
businesses, and then it gets deployed in so many other kind of creative ways.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I can think back to my own lifetime. I'm not as fresh as I once was.
We
And
don't date ourselves on this show. We don't mention. Nope. Real quick, have you seen that? There's a funny. It hasn't. It got kind of popular on TikTok. A bunch of my staffing branches were doing these. They would interview people and they'd ask them when they were born. Did you see this one? Did you see this funny trend?
Mhm. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and they ask him about like things that people who have been born recently haven't ever heard of.
Okay, that one's good too. This one was a little different. It would be like, when were you born? And they'd say, they'd start with the youngest, and the youngest one would say like, 2007, and the next one
Okay.
would say 2005, and then the last person would say 19, and before they could finish, they would cut away and do Jurassic Park.
Okay. I
And they
got it.
would,
I don't know if I've seen that one, but I
oh
get
my
it.
God. It's just so this is why we don't date ourselves because I don't want to end up on some Jurassic Park reel with these, so that's the whole joke. It's like if you're 19 anything, you're a dinosaur. It's really funny. It's funny. So yes, unfortunately, you and I would fall in the 19 and then
Yeah.
cut to um, cut to the dinosaur and the theme song for Jurassic Park, which I won't try to sing, but it was pretty funny. So in your own time, you've seen a lot of change. You think?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I started doing industrial controls and automation, everything was still serial communication and device net and DH plus. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good old days.
Yeah, well, we've got a lot in front of us. And I think as we close, what is it you're probably most excited about going forward, just with not just Fireball, but just with your clients? What do you think is the most interesting thing you're looking forward to in these next couple years?
The implementation of AI intelligence in the manufacturing process. So once you gather all this data together, now you can have an LLM run on this data and organize it for you, pull out trends and statistics that you never even thought about. Um, it really makes things a lot easier. It lets you interface with technology by talking to it rather than configuring it. Um, so yeah, I think it's going to be a huge thing. I think people are going to really make a lot of more money with the efficiency gains they're going to see from using these new technologies.
I think the way to go is exactly what you've said, and that somehow identify companies or industries that are focused with the large language models that could benefit your business, and partner with them. Do something so you can, use that data and learn quickly, and implement it into what you're doing. I think that really is the key. And in fact, that's probably, that'd be kind of an interesting little side little rabbit hole for me to go down on the podcast is to try to identify who some of these companies are developing these LLMs. Because if you think about it, they're the ones really who are collecting, storing, and doing that feedback loop. Like
Yeah,
what Tesla does.
a lot of our customers are going to on-prem now. There's open
I'm not
models now
surprised. I'm not
that
surprised.
that they can bring in house. For a big factory, that's not a big deal. Some of the small manufacturers, it's not quite worth it yet, but
Yeah,
the big guys, oh yeah, they'll just buy a
they're
bunch of
starting to do
GPUs and
on
put it on
prem.
their own factory floor. Yeah,
Uh huh. It's
we
interesting.
help people do that all the time.
Well, I tell you, it's been great to get to know you a little bit better. I know we've talked a lot offline, but I really wanted to have you down and just I wanted people to get to know, what Fireball Industries was doing because you've helped a lot of companies. You certainly are in my space. I mean, you're everywhere that I am for staffing, and that's why I thought it made a lot of sense because I love seeing automation and improvements because it benefits the workforce, and that's what I'm interested in. I want to see improvements for workers, and that's what this clearly does. Eric,
Yeah.
so good to finally get you. Our next one will be a complete boondoggle down in Mexico for number 2.
Number 2.
Podcast
Anytime, man.
2 is coming. I'm coming to Mexico. Eric, it's great seeing you again, my friend. Today, we'll
Great
we'll
seeing you as
talk to
well.
you soon, buddy.
Thank you so much.